Am I the asshole? For being rude to my SIL while she was breastfeeding in front of me? My brother and his girlfriend had their first baby about a year ago. They live 2 states over and finally brought the baby to my parents' house last weekend, where they will be staying with us for about 2 weeks. I used to get along well with my brother, but ever since his GF came into the picture, we don't see eye to eye. She's stuck up and entitled, and my brother always takes her side. It irritates me, but since they now live like 300 miles away, I don't think about them much. Yesterday, I was watching a TV show in the family room when my SIL came and sat on the couch near me. She started talking to me and she was surprisingly nice. She was asking me about my college plans and how school was. This was the first time in a long time we had a civil conversation. However, the baby started crying, so she brought him to where we were sitting and said it was his meal time. She still breastfeeds him, so I told her I would leave to give her privacy. She said it was okay, so I stayed. When she loosened her bra and took out her boob to feed her kid, I felt uncomfortable. She was still talking to me, but instead of looking at her, I was looking away from her and speaking. She eventually caught on and told me it's rude to not look at someone when they're talking to you. I told her I was just trying to give her some privacy. I don't know if it's hormones or something, but then she got mad and started antagonizing me. She said she's a grown woman and if she wanted privacy she would have gone to another room or told me to leave. She also called me a jerk. I said she needs to calm her tits and has no right to boss me around in my own home. She called me an asshole, went to complain to my brother. My brother called me a bunch of names and said he's going to teach me a lesson. My mom also said I was out of line for the way I acted and what I said afterwards. I was only defending myself from her rude remarks. Am I the asshole? I am 100 for women breastfeeding as and when they need to. Wherever. However, you offered to remove yourself from the room because you felt uncomfortable. You didn't ask her to stop or move away. You respected her decision to feed, she didn't respect your decision not to watch. She was out of line. You are not the asshole. Not the asshole as a woman who is attracted to women. If there is an exposed breast, I avert my eyes until it's covered. And that doesn't have anything to do with being uncomfortable around the act of breastfeeding itself or even partial nudity. It has to do with making sure the other person knows I'm safe for them to be around, not trying to even accidentally ogle them. I'm actually pretty damn comfortable being around female nudity. I'm able to manage my eyes thoughts just fine on my end, but that's not something I'm going to assume other people understand. I'm sorry your SIL was so quick to take offense, make judgments about you. Not the asshole. It would have been weird if you were staring at her. I mean, she doesn't need to cover up, it is all very natural, but she also doesn't need to get upset when someone doesn't want to watch her. She was looking for a fight and found one. If you had looked too much she would have called you a creep. You didn't, so she called you rude. You were in a no-win situation. Just avoid SIL, she will be gone soon and you won't have to worry about it. Wow, normally I don't disagree with the majority, but she's feeding her child, get over it. Look at her face. She doesn't need privacy. You're allowed to be uncomfortable, but give it a second and it will pass. You made a big thing and you deliberately used the term calm your tits. Not the asshole. I am a big supporter of breastfeeding being normalized. There is nothing sexual about a baby eating their meal. Breastfeeding is like bra straps. It is a you problem if it makes you uncomfortable, so look somewhere else. Which is exactly what Opie did. He wasn't rude or a jerk, he just looked away. This is a perfectly acceptable compromise so everyone is comfortable. I am frankly side-eyeing her as she seems to be stirring up trouble and picking fights for no reason. Not the asshole. She can breastfeed if she wants, but what she can't make you do is watch her. Like, what the hell is up with your family? Why does she want a 17-year-old boy to watch her breastfeed? Not the asshole. It's weird she wanted you to look at her. I need a bit more info, although I think the answer is just that you're 17, haven't learned appropriate responses in social situations. Why didn't you just get up leave? Yes, it would have been rude to walk out in the middle of her speaking, but you could have just simply said, I don't feel comfortable being here while you're breastfeeding, please excuse me. Honest, polite, straight to the point. What's the problem? My verdict is ESH. There's a lot of missing info in this post, but it seems like you were both pretty shitty. You couldn't win and she knew it. Show your family this post. Going the opposite way in my comment, but you're the asshole. She's breastfeeding, not making a striptease. I can't with this puritanism and sexualization of a woman nourishing her kid, tbh. Not the asshole. Also, why is a 26-year-old man with a baby, threatening a 17-year-old who is also his brother? I feel like that part has been completely glossed over. I feel like if everyone thought you did something wrong, you left something out of that story. Notar, this really felt like a test with no right answers. She did need to calm her tits, lol. Not the asshole, she seemed like she was spoiling for a fight. You were in a no-win situation there. Not the asshole, even if she is comfortable with her boob out breastfeeding, it's rude to assume that everyone in the room wants to be present for that. Not the asshole, your SIL is making you feel uncomfortable in your own home. Just leave the room next time, no matter what she says. She's playing head games and it's not going to end well. Yes, Serta. I know you're 17, but this is absurd. You don't need to defend yourself from a breastfeeding mother who is trying to have a polite, friendly conversation with you. Ignore the not the asshole circle jerk. Try to be nicer to people. You're about to turn 18, so your parents can kick you out if they want. Not the asshole. You should have excused yourself and left the exposed boob to do its job. A lot of breastfeeding women want to expose the world to their perfect motherhood by pretending it is so natural that it should be in everyone's face. Your family is rude and a bunch of a-holes for getting angry with you. GF was purposely antagonizing you. Sure, the baby has to eat, but you don't have to watch or make eye contact with anyone if it's uncomfortable. You are 17 and you were uncomfortable. You are not the asshole. Definitely not the asshole. I am a breastfeeding woman. I may feel comfortable enough to breastfeed next to someone, but that doesn't mean that person should feel comfortable as well. I don't think it is healthy to dictate how other people should feel like your SIL does. In the future, if a nursing woman makes you uncomfortable, you leave. Offering to leave only makes sense if you are okay and you think she is uncomfortable. Nah. She's looking for a fight here. Who knows, if you had looked at her instead of away, she might have called you a creep. You did what was comfortable for you in a situation you weren't comfortable in, and it just seems like she was determined to start some shit over something. X200B. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'm a grown woman, and I wouldn't have looked at her either. I would have felt very uncomfortable actually, being in the same room as she breastfed and was exposed. You did the polite thing and didn't look. She was being a massive R. Not the asshole. Breastfeeding is natural, but once she knew you were uncomfortable and kept pushing just to be a B, then you had a right to stand up for yourself. It sounds like your brother is trying to push his weight around and is being an ass. Just tell him just because he chose her doesn't mean you have to put up with her. No reason to talk to your mom until they are gone, but it might not even matter based on her reply. Just leave the room when she's around or stay out of the house as much as possible while they visit. You're the asshole. Breastfeeding is a natural thing and it is how your nephew eats. Would you eat your meals in private? I don't think so. Breasts are made to feed babies. That is their primary function. Yes, they can provide sexual pleasure, but that is not what they were designed primarily to do. You need to be more mature and apologize, both to your SIL and your brother. I will also add, that I breastfed, and most of the time, people couldn't even tell I was doing so. I was so adept at it, that it was second nature. The baby's head covers most of the breast anyway. You really have to look to see anything.